Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalkan, nama saya Kalinda, Anabelle Putri Affandi, dan saya berasal dari SMA Negeri 48 Jakarta, kelas 10 IPS 2, nomor absen 13. Dan pada hari ini saya akan membuat video dalam rangka memenuhi penilaian tugas PKWU dari materi membuat kerajinan non-benda dari kebudayaan lokal. Dan pada hari ini saya akan membawakan suatu kisah cerita rakyat yang berasal dari Jawa Tengah, yaitu RORO JONGGRANG. Dan saya akan membawakan cerita tersebut dengan menggunakan bahasa Inggris. Silahkan saksikan videonya. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to listen to one of Indonesia's classical story. This is a folktale, a legend, and this legend tells upon the story of Prambanan Temple. In case you didn't know, Prambanan Temple is one of Indonesia's greatest temple in Java Island, more specifically Yogyakarta. And today I am going to tell you the story on how the Prambanan Temple itself has been made. So let's just get straight into the story. Once upon a time, in the depths of Java Island, there stood an almighty kingdom named Prambanan Kingdom. Prambanan Kingdom was known for its prosperity and welfare. Its wealth and greatness came from the one and only Prabu Baka, the king of Prambanan Kingdom. Prabu Baka was loved by his people. Why? Because of his kindness and his wiseness. On the other side of Prambanan Kingdom, there stood another kingdom called Pengging Kingdom. Pengging Kingdom was quite different from Prambanan Kingdom. Pengging Kingdom was ruled by King Pengging, who was known to be a very arrogant and greedy king. He wanted to conquer Prambanan Kingdom, and he wanted to overthrow Prabu Baka. Because of this, one day he sent his strongest warrior to go and attack Prambanan Kingdom. And who is this warrior that he sent? Well, his name is Banu Bonoboso. Well, who is this Banu Bonoboso, you might ask? Well, Banu Bonoboso was the greatest warrior in Pengging Kingdom. He was known to be the greatest, the strongest warrior because he had a very, very powerful weapon called Bandung, hence the reason why he was called Banu Bonoboso. And not only that, but he also had an army of genies that were ready to follow all of his orders. And so Banu Bonoboso went to Prambanan Kingdom to fulfill his duties. And Prabu Baka, who was not as strong nor as powerful as Banu Bonoboso, suffered heavily during the fight. He was no match for Banu Bonoboso's great power. And that lasted for quite a while until Prabu Baka finally passed away during his final fight with Banu Bonoboso. With Prabu Baka's death, the people of Prambanan was left with no king to rule over them. But on the other hand, with Banu Bonoboso's joyous victory, King Pengging was very, very happy, and he was pleased. He then gave Banu Bonoboso the authority to rule over Prambanan Kingdom. But hearing this, Prabu Baka's daughter, RORO JONGGRANG, was very, very sad, and she was full of sorrow. She still couldn't believe that her beloved father had died during the war. And because of that, she despised Banu Bonoboso. She hated him from the depths of her heart. She couldn't believe that the man who had killed his father was going to become her new king. But you see, here is where the big twist is going to happen. Banu Bonoboso, who had just moved to prominent kingdom and had finally met with RORO JONGGRANG, had fallen in love with her. Yes, he did. He fell in love with RORO JONGGRANG's beautiful looks and beautiful face. So because of this feeling, he sent his servant to go and bring RORO JONGGRANG to meet him in the castle. And so his servant brought RORO JONGGRANG to meet him, and RORO JONGGRANG reluctantly went to him. And during this meetup between RORO JONGGRANG and Banu Bonoboso, something shocking had happened. A very shocking statement came out of Banu Bonoboso's mouth. He said, "RORO JONGGRANG, be my consort, and your life won't be full of suffering." And can you imagine the surprise on her face when she heard that this man who had just killed her own father asked her to marry him? Oh, she hated him so much. She did not want to associate herself with him at all, and she wanted to reject him. But deep down, she knew that if she had rejected him back then, oh, he will be furious, he will be mad, and he would kill all of her beloved people, her beloved family, everyone that she loved. And so RORO JONGGRANG tried to think of a plan, to think of an escape, to think of a way out without hurting anyone. And so she think, and she think, and she think, and then boom, a great idea just popped into her head. And that idea was, "Banu Bonoboso, I will marry you with one condition only. Build me 1,000 temples in the span of one night, and one night only. And if you manage to do so, then you can take my hand in marriage. But if you don't, well, it won't happen." And so with this, Banu Bonoboso felt intrigued. He was challenged. But deep down he knew this was no challenge. This was something easy, especially with the help of his genies. And so Banu Bonoboso, with great pride, with great confidence, accepted the terms that RORO JONGGRANG had given him. Oh, he was confident that he was going to finish it. And so Banu Bonoboso gathered all of his genies, and he explained all of the rules that RORO JONGGRANG had given him. And after that, they went and they started to make all of the temples that were requested by RORO JONGGRANG. And they built one temples, and then 2, 3, 4, and it was very, very quick. It was at the speed of light. And from afar, RORO JONGGRANG, who was watching them, building, creating things so quickly, was starting to get nervous. She was scared because it might actually seem that he could finish this, and he could finish this soon. But RORO JONGGRANG was persistent. Now she did not want to be his wife. Therefore, she again think of another plan. She kept thinking, and then boom, another great plan had just come into her mind. Well, what was this plan, you see? She went to her servant and she ordered them to burn hay in the direction of the east. So you all might be wondering, why did she do this? What is she doing? what was on her plan was that she wanted to make it seem as if the sun had risen. She wanted it to look as if the day had begun, and that Banu Bonoboso failed on succeeding. And so she sent her servant to burn hay in the direction of the east in order to make the roosters crow, signaling that the sun had risen. And you know what? This great plan of hers seemed to work. The roosters started to crow. And Banu Bonoboso and his army of genies heard that. And because of that, Banu Bonoboso's army of genies, they started to run, they started to flock, and they started to go back to where they belong. Banu Bonoboso tried to stop them, but it was too late. They had already left the scene. And all that was left was Banu Bonoboso and the 999th temple. RORO JONGGRANG was back to feeling joyous and victorious. She thought that she had finally succeeded in stopping Banu Bonoboso. So she then walked to Banu Bonoboso and she spoke. Well, it looked as if your plan has failed you. I guess you will not take my hand in marriage. Upon hearing this, Banu Bonoboso was mad. He was furious. He knew that RORO JONGGRANG had played a trick on him. And so he said to her, "Oh really? I have failed. Well then, why don't you complete this temple, this request that you asked? And you are going to be the 1000th temple." And with that, Banu Bonoboso's magical power turned RORO JONGGRANG into the 1000th temple. Once was incomplete was now finally completed, with RORO JONGGRANG being the 1000th temple. And that was the story of how the prominent temple was made, the complex itself. And in the middle of that complex was the 1000th temple, or known as Candi RORO JONGGRANG, or the RORO JONGGRANG temple. As you can see, this was a story of betrayal, of broken trust. And what we can learn from this story is that we should not break our promise, and we should not cheat our promise. It is as simple as that. And that is the story of the origin of prominent temples, or known as RORO JONGGRANG. I hope that with this video, you guys could be able to learn more about Indonesia, and you guys will be interested to come and visit Indonesia and see prominent temples for yourself. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you had a good time. So thank you very much, and see you in the next video. Terima kasih banyak karena telah menonton. Sampai jumpa di video berikutnya. Bye-bye!